We play Savage Worlds, whether we're at the table or over the internet. In our role-playing game, fantasy is just the beginning. From the Wild West to the depths of outer space and beyond. Anytime, any place. They're all Savage Worlds.
Welcome, folks, to the 2022 Savage Worlds Adventures Guild Awards. Manu, hit it, buddy. Yeah!
Yeah!
Oh, see, Manu is so used to this. We're putting him to work doing sound effects because he's been on all these award shows. And tonight, I think you're taking home a whopping 4, buddy. So Congratulations on that. All as Becca gave for 2, and we got a lot of familiar faces and some new faces. So it'll be an exciting evening. So let's get right to it. And guys, hey, we should introduce JM. So for those of you who haven't met JM before, JM DeFogi is our Savage Universe liaison, and we are SavageUniverse.com is going to be a new website that we are launching soon. JM and I got some previews of it today that are looking really good.
Oh man, yeah.
And so we're hoping to have some. So JM, tell us, what is Savage Universe? What's it going to be, and what is your role as the liaison, sir?
So Savage Universe is going to be the place to go whether you are somebody who wants to be a licensee of Savage Worlds or you want to buy licensee material from Savage Worlds. We're going to have spotlights on our aces. We're going to have spotlights on swag. You're going to be able to go have links directly to ace pages, be able to see what's new in the Savage World licensee community. If you want to know, I want to publish something for Savage Worlds, what am I allowed to use? What do I get to use? What are the different levels? That's going to be a one-stop shop for that. We're also going to get a calendar up there, so you're going to be able to see everything from if somebody's streaming Savage Worlds, when is that happening? If somebody's dropping a new podcast, if someone's running a crowdfunding or a game changer, when is Peg doing stuff like that, just so that people have a view of, hey, what does the month look like for Savage Worlds in kind of its entirety, like when people are putting product out there. And for those of you who are licensees, I'm the person to talk to. If you want something featured on the site, if you want to ask questions about, hey, what is a crowdfunding or a game changer starting, so I don't want to overlap with what Peg is doing. Right now we have a spotlight on one of the aces who has a pre-order going until tomorrow, and his backer kit closes for that. So you can look at Chris working magic behind the scenes. That is my email. Drop me an email. Let me know. Introduce yourself. I'd love to get a chance to know you, know what you're working on, what you have out there, so that I can speak a little bit more cogently to it. And if you've got questions, I will ask Chris about them and get answers to you. But eventually, I will have some of the answers for you. And looking forward to getting to know all of the licensees and kind of being your advocate for getting your product in front of our fans.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to me directly, I'm the director of marketing for Pinnacle. And mine in the chat, chris.landauer@pegging.com. That's an L, not an I, just in case. This is lowercase, whatever. But yeah, so super exciting. And so for those of you who don't know, this is like your first time seeing Savage Worlds. I mean, there are a bunch of you. Like this little something happened in the community and in the role-playing market, whatever. I'm not going to get into it, but suffice it to say, we sold out of our entire first quarter of the year's worth of our Savage Worlds core books. So if you are new and want to get the hard copy, you got to wait a few more weeks. The resupply is coming in March, and then I think last month, January, was like our biggest month on Drive-Thru-RPG ever, or in recent memory. It's a good month, guys. So welcome to all the new community members. JM, let's see. Explain the difference between an ace and a swag member. So tonight is the swag awards.
Tonight is the swag awards.
So yeah. So who are the swag folks? What
They're cool people.
They're. That's it. Like, so if you want to put something out for Savage Worlds and you want to make some money at it, you can put it up on our Savage Worlds Adventure Guild community on Drive-Thru-RPG. It is essentially a place where you can get some tools, put together an adventure, a supplement, some of the things that or a whole setting. We're going to go through a lot of that tonight. And there are some guidelines around it. You can go to SavageUniverse.com right now and find out what the guidelines are. but you get to put it up on Drive-Thru RPG and Peg and Drive-Thru. Peg takes a very little bit, Drive-Thru takes a little bit more, but the majority of it goes to you. And that's kind of important for us, that people who put up material for Savage Worlds get the most that they can out of it and retain the right to their intellectual property. Aces take that one step further. If you want to go beyond, say, POD, you want to go beyond publishing something on Drive-Thru, you want to produce a book, we want to take a look at what you've got to sign off on the ACE licensing side of that. But we have a ton of material that we kind of help you with. And when I'm looking at pushing the amount of material that we have from the PEG side to actually help ACEs get their books to Kickstarter, get their books across the finish line, getting them into the hands of their backers and new customers. And so ACEs is a little bit, we just want, as Chris described it, it is a bridge program. We want to get to know you. We want to look at what you're doing. We want to work with you. It's not a faceless, here, go out and do anything. I'm going to be the face that you talk to on the email. If you need to have a video chat about things, if you've got questions, I'm the person to come to just help you out as ACEs or as swag members.
Perfect. So let's get into it. So folks have asked, like, what are the criteria to win a swag award? So what we do is we look at the top free product of the year, so product that's never been sold for money and it's gotten the most downloads, and that gets an award. And then for the rest of the awards, we look at the gross sales and the number of unit downloads, because there's a lot of ways and a lot of different products. Like some products are full on settings, some products are one sheets, some products are pay what you want. So it's kind of hard to pick one kind of fair metric. So we look at both. We look at like the number of downloads and how much cash you've accumulated, and blend those two together to get our top, usually it's like 13-ish products that come out of the wash with that. So basically it's fan choice. Fans have either thrown money at these products or downloaded them a lot, or both, usually both. And so that's how we arrive at the awards. And to not belabor it any further, Manu, get your applause ready, because we're going to go through. Manu's winning 4 tonight, so we're going to do like 2 at a time, just so we don't have to hear from Manu all night. He's a great dude. But first up, congratulations, sir. Furious Magic has won a 2022 Swag Award.
What? You heard the man. I have official permission to applaud myself.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you guys. It's great to be back. It's awesome. Like, love this show, love the format. I just wish the timing was more convenient for Europeans. But well, I guess you got to die one death, and nothing you guys can do about that.
There are a surprisingly high number of Europeans who not only take advantage of swag, but are like winning awards. So
yeah,
if folks, if you are one of the backers and the winners and you didn't get to appear tonight, we're going to try to do a follow-up show. We'll do part 2, because we want everybody to get on. So
yeah,
so it ain't one chance. But now that Manuel's here, so JM, why don't you take over grilling Manu, because we're old friends and you guys have just met. So
excellent. So Manu, why don't you walk us through? So Furious Magic is a way that takes the no PowerPoint rule for Magic and then makes it a lot more dynamic. So I was actually looking at it before we had picked this, because I'm looking at ways to make Magic more fun and interesting in my game. So I'll let you speak to it. What would you want to tell people who have never heard of this? Go for it.
Okay. If you have never heard of Furious Magic, then you know that in the core Savage Worlds rulebook, there is an optional way to do Magic that does not use PowerPoints, which is what I used in one of my other products. I promise to not mention it all the time, but it's a bit difficult with what I do and how I do things. And that is, well, the way no PowerPoints in core Savage Worlds works is you still need to use PowerPoints to calculate penalties, because you need some kind of limitation for how much spells your spell slinger can sling around. all day. And the way No PowerPoints does that is by using penalties. And I built my first No PowerPoint system as a variation on that. And from that, it just evolved into what has then become Furious Magic.
And it's not just a rule, like it's not just the setting rule. You actually have new edges and hindrances that interact with that style of Magic.
Exactly. There's a full system I built around it. It's not a big system because Furious Magic is like my usual 4 to 5 pages, but still it needed a bit more meat than just being a simple setting rule, because Furious Magic does not use PowerPoints whatsoever. You do not need to do any calculations for calculating penalties. And that was, speaking of penalties, that is the big thing that led to Furious Magic. Because in classic No PowerPoint Savage Worlds, the higher you get in the power tiers, the more PowerPoints they cost and the more penalties you get. And it makes pulling off higher level spells
very difficult.
Very, very difficult until you get to like legendary characters where you can take professional and expert and master and like get those static bonuses. And I wanted to find a way to have spellcasters be able to have to not use PowerPoints and use higher tier powers, but not have to juggle with a ton of penalties and bonuses just to reliably cast the core versions of their spells. And that is really what Furious Magic does. It allows spellcasters to cast spells at all rank levels reliably, and it's only the options that make it more difficult. There's a whole support structure beneath that with new edges, so the way you unlock new powers is a bit different. The No Powers edge still applies, but still just to unlock higher tiers, there are new edges, and there are some new hindrances for that, because I go with, there's also a variation, or you could say, of the dynamic backlash rule. Limitation is not done via PowerPoints, but, via other things and bad things that can happen.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So the not only you get Furious Magic, you're also furious in another way.
That's right.
Let's do number 2.
Cue the applause.
Cue your own applause, sir. Here it comes. 2022 Swag Award goes to Amanda Sams for Furious Hacking. Nice.
Okay, Furious Hacking. Furious Hacking is an evolution, I would say. And this is me, once again, going back to Sprawl Runners, because when I'm on a show, everything revolves about Sprawl Runners, obviously. Well, not necessarily. I'm going to say a lot. This show. Yay, non-native language. Did it again. So this all started with the old fast lane hacking, which was my take on how to make a hacking system that resolves reasonably quickly at the table, but still gives the game master and the hacking player enough space to insert the narrative into all those roles, which is why Fastlane hacking was built on the core of the dramatic task system, because the dramatic task system is a solid foundation. It already does what I needed it to do. And that evolved over time due to a lot of feedback and some ideas I had on my own into what is now Furious Hacking. Fastlane hacking had the same... Well, calling it a problem isn't really fair because it's not a problem, but had the same effect that higher tiers revolved around having higher penalties, and then you unlock more character options via edges and gear that help you offset those penalties. And I wanted to find a way to do natural progression without having to rely on stacking penalties and bonuses on top of each other, because it's a lot of bookkeeping. It works, but over time, it becomes a lot of bookkeeping, and it's just throwing numbers around for the benefit of locking stuff of higher tiers off for novice and seasoned characters and such. So I tried various things and ultimately came up with what is now Furious Hacking, which does not rely on penalties and bonuses at all.
Oh, you're good. Sorry, little feedback.
Ah, okay. I thought that was a question. Sorry. Yeah. So furious hacking is no longer based on the dramatic task system. It is I think it's a kind of unique system where the difficulty of the system modifies how you roll against the system, and everything starts out with you just rolling against a base TN of 4. And the longer you stay inside a system, the higher your chances are to encounter opposed rolls. And after a certain threshold, which is determined by your rank and the edges you have, you're just always rolling opposed against the system. And failing rolls against the system can either just waste your time, which means you have to roll again, which increases the risk of bad things happening. And there's also a card draw mechanic included, because drawing cards is fun because we're playing Savage Worlds.
That's
and
right.
if you draw clubs, then you know what happens. You all know what happens when you draw clubs in really any context. So same with furious hacking. You don't want to draw clubs.
So I'm seeing a theme between these two of wanting to reduce the bookkeeping both for you and the players, and kind of keep the pace of Savage Worlds moving forward.
Exactly. That
Awesome.
is the base idea for both of these products. Reduce bookkeeping, but keep it as fast as possible, while also keeping it as flexible as possible, so it doesn't impede the narrative, which is one of the big upsides of running Savage Worlds. You have like these really, really slick mechanics that just do what they're supposed to do and then get out of the way so you can get on with the role playing. And that is really what Furious Hacking and Furious Magic, in my opinion, do really, really well. They allow you to do the cool stuff mechanically, and then just step aside so you can do the cool narrations for the stuff you just did.
Yeah, no, the chat's got it on right. John Doom chimes in and says, man, sounds like it would work well for something in a Cyber Arcana type setting, right? And Jody, of course, Cyberpunk can be a little rules heavy, so I like the fact that it's slim and keeps it the best. Fun.
I'm going to add, if you want to have a grim, dark game with big guys and magic that's very dangerous, Furious Magic is a nice system to use as well. Trying to stay away from copyright because we can be nuked from orbit by them, so try to read between the lines.
It is the only way to be sure.
It is. It truly is. Well, so since you piped up, Alb is a repeat winner and also a dual winner tonight. So let's get to the first of your two awards, sir. Manu, cue those applause. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. 2022 award winner for swag. Alb for Big Bad Wolf. Oh, even a Brahm. There we go.
I'm going to say I have 2 young girls at home, and they kind of talk loudly, so you might have a background sound. I apologize for that. I had to mute earlier because they were like talking over GM, so sorry about that.
No problem. Kids are always welcome. And in fact, we might be doing a little Savage Worlds aimed directly at the tots. We'll see.
Yeah,
it's in the ether. We haven't pulled it down yet and solidified it, but there's been talking. So your kids are welcome at our table anytime.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So congrats, sir. Tell us about Big Bad Wolf and what the greater.
Big Bad Wolf is a supplement to my Big Apple Sewer Samurai setting, mini setting, more like a toolkit / setting. It's based on replicating the tropes and universe of the 80s and 90s Saturday morning cartoons. Big Bad Wolf is kind of a mix between a few things. So there's an adventure there's extra rules for magic items, and keeping in touch with all the ideas we had in the 80s, 90s, that magic items are rare, they're special, they have names, it's rules to create them and to keep them balanced with everything else. And there's also a lot of NPCs that can be used in any types of games. So the idea behind Big Bad Wolf and Big Apple Sewer Samurai is to give all the tools to the GMs to use the setting included, or replicate one setting they like. So it could be anything from the 80s and 90s, or create their own, because it's surprising how many tropes are shared by so many cool shows, and with a few rules you can actually cover basically all of them. I said it for Big Apple Sword Samurai, and I'll say it for Big Bad Wolf. People were saying, "Oh, that's exactly like that show," and I never watched that show. I never knew about that
That's awesome.
show. Lone Star, is it a show with a cowboy in space, and a First Nation cowboy in space with his horse sidekick, something like that.
Marshall
Never knew about-
Bravestar.
Brave Star. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's like never heard about it. I don't think it aired in Canada. So, but there you go. People were saying, "Oh, that's exactly like that." So that's
Well, I gotta say the cover drew me in and immediately filled me in on what I needed to know with the anthropomorphic dolphin with a bat attacking spiders, and this guy with no head and just like all of his facial features on his chest. Yeah, that's it right there, Chris. Great.
One thing I really like is getting an artist I like and sharing the creative process with them. So I usually give them a broad idea of what I want. So it's usually, I need, in that case, I think I want a mutant animal, any animal you want, maybe not lizards, because lizards were in the front of Big Apple Sword Samurai, and give me an alien with a face on his chest and without a head. So that was it. That's what's my pitch for the artist, and they came up with all the rest. So that's what I like, because I actually they feed me ideas for my own setting, and they usually very enjoy having that freedom to draw what they really want and how they really want it. So that's something I really, really enjoy. And I probably those are my girls. And
hey kiddos.
one thing I really enjoy as well, maybe too much because I usually commission a lot of art for ideas I have, and I'm not sure they will ever see the light of day, but that's something I really enjoy. And having a successful first game allow me to have a budget, an art budget. So that's something I really, really good. I really, really enjoy. So that's pretty much Big Apple Sword Samurai and Big Bad Wolf. I'm currently writing the second part of the adventure called With Friends Like These, and it's like I saw it like a season, a cartoon season, where every episode is unique. You don't need to watch them in any specific order, except the final one. You'll need to have all the other ones to understand what's happening. So that's the idea between that series of adventure. They can be taken separately. They can be introduced into other settings easily because they're pretty much generic. But if you play them in order and end up with, I hope, the fifth one, you'll have a full complete story for the season with a story arc and recurring characters and everything.
Wonderbar. So one more question before we meet Dan, who I believe Dan's a new winner. Before we contact Dan, what's it been like in the swag community? Like, talk about the experience of doing your very first publication. And what's it like, year 2 and now year 3? Like, what's the progression been like? How have you found it? What more do we need to do for you at PEG to keep you guys making this awesome stuff?
Well, pay us, no, give us a salary, that will help. But
wait, you guys are getting paid? What?
Jokes aside, I was the kind of guy that had like 10, 20 fan stuff that was half-baked, not unedited, full of errors, but open to everyone on the old forums. And when the swag program was announced, I realized that I could try and publish something by myself without having to go through anybody else. And that was something that I really wanted to do. But my accent is probably very obvious. I'm not English, an English speaker, native English speaker. I'm from Quebec, so just up north, but we speak French here. And that's what something that terrified me, because I knew that my grammar and self-editing wasn't enough, and I was trying to see if I could hire an editor or something that could help me. And I went to the Discord, the Savage World Discord, and asked if anybody knew good editors that could help. And I had 3 or 4 people that actually volunteered to help me edit my first draft free of charge. They only wanted the book when it was
That's cool.
and so I managed to finish my book, and it was in a state that was comfortable publishing. And big thank you to Cyril, probably forgetting people. So I had who trying to find GN Revolution on the forum and everything. I'm probably forgetting people. Sorry. So thank you for those that helped me the first time. That really gave me a boost of confidence, and I'm trying to do the same with everyone that asked the same thing. And there you go. I had one of the, I think, the second biggest start of for Savage World swag sitting after Sprawl Runner, and no, yeah. And I just funny thing, I just became a platinum bestseller like a week ago. So more than 1,000 people actually bought a book from me, and it was absolutely just an idea in the back of my head like 3 years ago. So that's the power of swag, people. And the community is awesome. They really want to help each other. Every time someone has an idea, we share we gave our constructive criticism. So that's hop on the Discord. That's where you want to be if you want to find all the other swag authors and everything else. So that's how I think how awesome the community is at large, because I never knew that you could have so much support as a, well, I could say I'm a pro now because I got paid to do that, but I'm basically an amateur at best. And there's enough people that want to buy from amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
And you have also the swag authors that are a pretty cool group. So I couldn't ask for a better community.
Well, and speaking of community, we will get back to you to talk more about the Fast Furious February program that you are initiating, and it's just getting kicked off. But for now, let's jump over to Dan. Dan, I think this is your first swag award. Am I correct on that?
Yep, that's right. Yep. It's been less than a year since I published, so this is the first thing I've done.
Well, wonderful, because you got 2 of them. Let's start with Conspirators, sir. Tell us, 2022 swag award winner, Dark States, Conspirators, handbook by Daniel Irwin. Tell us, sir, what is Dark States?
So Dark States is something that sort of gelled about 2017, and I spent about 4 years just doing some fan stuff before publishing. And it's a near future conspiracy horror, so it's a lot darker than the stuff that Al puts out, but it harkens back to a lot of the sort of Cronenberg and John Carpenter movies from the 80s and 70s, as well as kind of tying into more recent stuff. And it's about a world on the brink of sort of social, economic, environmental collapse, but then there's a supernatural element to it. And it also ties into, sort of aliens and demons and interdimensional beings, and there's all sorts of sort of things happening in the background, all very secretive, all controlled by the government and protected and sort of kept secret from the rest of the world. And you play people that uncover those secrets and those horrors that you find out there. So it's been a long time brewing, and it draws on a whole number of different elements and ideas and things that I'd sort of come across over the years. Going back to stuff we played and ran in the 90s as games that I didn't see anything else out on the market. And I just started playing Savage Worlds at the time. I'd only sort of started in 2017, but it just seemed like a good fit. for this, and the flexibility and the ability to sort of build your own settings really well just really worked for me. So we went ahead and sort of played it for a couple of years and ended up thinking, well, actually, this is something we could actually go ahead and publish. We could actually do something with this, especially once Swag came out as an option. So we kind of went ahead and did it. And a lot of the people you'd see, the lady that did the artwork, Claire, was one of the original players. The guy that did the layout was also involved in playing the game as well. So they sort of had that insider knowledge to a certain degree when they sat down to actually start doing work on it.
That is fantastic. So the Conspirators Handbook, is that the main book, or the GM book, the big setting guide?
Yeah. So the Conspirators Handbook is for the GM. That's got all the hidden lore that the majority of the players or seekers, as they're known, and you'll see that the Seekers Guide come along in a bit. That has all the hidden history, and then it's also got extra rules around how you handle things called singularities, which are the sort of the interdimensional sort of dark aspect that comes through that controls things like hauntings and possessions, but you can also have cryptids and what they call anomalies, which is the sort of large-scale changes to reality that can be affected. Things like the Mist, if you've seen the Mist, or Annihilation, those sorts of types of elements feeding into it. And then it's got bestiary, and there's a gazetteer of the United States, and it kind of delves in as it gives an overview of what's going on there, an adventure generator, options on how to run the game. So there's a default sort of setting and how that works, but then there are options in the gazetteer, in the adventure sort of running the game section, that give you ideas where if you don't want to do it that way, if you don't want to run it this way, here's some other ways you could run it. So there's options. You don't have to play it the way that it's set out in the main lore. You can tweak it to play the way you want it to play. So that's about 120 pages for that book. So it's quite a hefty tome. Well,
fantastic. And as long as we're talking to you, let's dish out your second award, sir, because the Seeker's Guide is also a 2022 Swag Award winner, Dark State Seeker's Guide by Daniel Irwin. Come on, Manu. We'll do it ourselves.
I was going to say that.
There it is.
Forgot to unmute myself. Professional streamer at work here.
Right? Oh, good stuff. My dog's happy now. So tell us what's in the Seeker's Guide. What additional stuff is in there, and why do folks want to pick that up?
So the Seeker's Guide is aimed at the players. It's aimed at giving them an overview of the setting without going too deep into the lore, but also giving them all the character generation options, new edges, new hindrances, the powers that are available. So there are, I think, 5 different types of arcane backgrounds that you can choose for, or 4 arcane backgrounds, but then on top of that, there is ritualism, which allows you to do cult stuff, which, you've probably seen in other things. And obviously with the Horror Companion now sort of coming out, be next on my list of things to do is to go back and revisit the setting and try and tie it in better with the Horror Companion. And then something that came in quite late, which experimentation. So it's kind of the science equivalent of ritualism. It allows you to, as a scientist, to perform powers, either as a fringe scientist, which is one of the arcane backgrounds, or as just a regular scientist. So it gives you the ability to, because I found that science as a skill, because of fringe science and the aspect of that was coming into the game, science was kind of getting left behind, and I wanted something in there to allow just someone to use the science skill and actually be able to do stuff. So we came up with experimentation as this kind of idea that you could actually build experiments and generate powers that way. So that's all in there. And then there's gear. So there's a whole sort of section on gear, and we delved. When we played, one of the things we found was that people weren't that interested in the sort of going down into the nuts and bolts of gear. Whether it's a Glock or a Magnum, no one really was that hugely worried about what they had as long as it was a gun. So we kind of toned down the sort of the gear and made it a bit more generic. But there's also stuff in there on pharmaceuticals, because it's a sort of setting that in the near future. Pharmaceuticals was going to be quite a big thing, so there's a lot of stuff in there around that, how you can actually use pharmaceuticals, but also because of that, there are rules in there to cover addiction and how you can treat addiction and what effects that can have on the character. It goes above and beyond just having the habit hindrance. So there's a whole section in there on that. And then various other setting rules on wealth. We actually do a thing on hacking as well, because we have hacking in the game, but I wanted it to be more, not quite so cyberpunk, and more sort of real world hacking. So it's very much sort of much lower level hacking than you would see in something like Sprawl Runners or Furious hacking. But it allows you to do, again, different veins of that. So you can either go down the road of just standard task, you can go down a dramatic task route, you can even use a social conflict to resolve hacking.
Nice.
Within the rules that they've got there. And then some additional stuff on things like wealth, because again, because of the way the setting is geared, it kind of, again, I didn't want to go into the nuts and bolts of how much money have you got. So we used the optional wealth die rule, but I expanded upon that and gave some ideas around how to buy illicit goods and how to deal with things like vehicles. How do you buy a vehicle if you're using wealth die, because it's such a phenomenally more expensive thing than buying a pack of gum. So there's some rules in there on how to sort of deal with that as well. So yeah, it's more aimed at the players, and it's pay what you want as well. It's not something that you have to pay for. You can just pick it up for free, because it was aimed at players. I didn't want each player to have to buy a copy. Yeah. So that one is pretty much free, and that I think it's about 80 pages long.
Good stuff. So I mean, awesome. Jody mentioned it. Yes, it is a magnum opus. It's a lot of work for kind of a debut swag product. Have you considered, actually having gone through swag, have you considered actually going in and applying to be an ace and to go on the whole published book route? Because you're almost there. I mean, this is a big setting already. Yeah.
I considered it. I haven't gone there yet. I may do in the future. But at the moment, I'm kind of happy where I am with what I'm doing with swag. I've got the ability to produce more stuff quite easily. And that was the thing about swag. It was just so easy to get up and running. There weren't really any hurdles to have to overcome to get to the point of writing something and publishing it. No. It was so simple. And I'm sure the ACE program makes it more simple in some ways, but I suspect it maybe complicates things in others. And, we have day jobs as well. And it's finding the time to do all of this stuff.
Yeah, 100% true. And then I think that is why we do offer the different levels is, it's about commitment and budget and time and experience, and hopefully all those things get better as you guys approach higher status. But I'm excited for Dark States. I just love that you really put together a very kind of impressive freshman offering. It's definitely a gap in the market for RPGs. So I love that it's in Savage Worlds and not somebody else. So right, we appreciate you, Dan. So with that, there's some hype. There's some hype in the chat. We've got some Megas Rogue hype, and I think it's time for another repeat. I mean, all the repeat winners here. This is pretty actually amazing that everybody here has got at least 2 awards. I don't. Me and JM don't. We're the slackers in the group.
Yeah.
But, sir, Mr. Lloyd, congratulations on. Let's get rid of this comment so we can get the actual banner up. Congratulations on a repeat, another year, another award for you. And this is actually a really interesting tie-in with another one of our winners who's sitting over there. So congratulations, sir, on you and Mason, 2022 Swag Award winner, Megas Rogue's Guide to the Squirrels. So this one's pretty cool because it's a Sprawl Runner supplement. We are seeing an ace or a swag product from one creator opening up their license to another swag creator and winning an award. That's pretty cool. Mando's also pioneered like the first swag product that's got a VTT, which also won last year, which is really awesome. I mean, I love to see, we had no idea that would ever happen because VTT is expensive and hard. And
believe me, I didn't either.
But the so yeah, sir, Adam, tell us about your interaction with Manu and what is in this guidebook. Do we mute you? Still can't hear you. Let's try the other mic. This is the lovely technical of it's a live show, folks. But yes, bear with us.
Can you hear me?
There we
Yeah,
go.
we can hear you.
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
Hey, there I am. All right, so yeah, it's second year in a row, and second Sprawl Runners supplement, and I don't know what to say. It's really awesome here. Manu came out and made an absolutely a phenomenal product, and I was like, there is because I come from a long time. I'm not going to quote my age there. I see some gray in my beard, but I come from a long time runner of that Ether running game for Legally Distinct, and it's been one of my hush up, husband. And of course, you had to throw that in. Thank you. But yeah, it's been a long time passion of both me and Mason, actually, who was the most amazing husband I could ever have. As he right there said, he actually wrote the opening fiction for Maker's Rogue's Guide to the Sprawls, and he did a phenomenal job on there. And yeah, but I went to there's things in my that other running game that I really, really enjoyed much, and I saw an opportunity to put my own twist on that and move that into the Sprawl Runners toolkit as well. Think of mine as a toolkit for a toolkit, if you will. But it's adds more ancestries. I call it metahumans. Adds more magic to the realm, more gear. I mean, you can't have a running game without a minigun. That's just my own opinion there.
How much damage does a minigun do, sir?
A lot.
That's the right answer.
That's the right answer. Yeah.
all of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Swiss cheese, please.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't have street samurais without a katana, so I threw that in there because katana, it's magic. And just little things I came up with, and things that I really, really wanted to see translated into Savage Worlds that I personally like in my running games, and hopefully you guys will love it too. And as Dan said, with the release of certain new books, especially Fantasy Companion and Horror Companion, I'm starting to see that there's more things that can come in there too. So this is not the first Sprawl Runner's Guide that you're going to see. In fact, Manu's got a preview of an update. Add in, oh gosh, right now it's up to another additional 23 pages worth of material to the Sprawl Runners book. It's going to be basically bigger, badder, better. More magic.
I like the alliteration. It totally goes on brand with Fast Furious.
Yeah.
I
I was just thinking that.
And it's more races, more magic, more Fast Furious fun stuff, if you will. I even got some inspiration from Horror Companion, and I'm going to be looking into add in a couple new monstrous options for characters as well there. In case you want to play something, that even the Sinless won't want to run with. Just a couple little passion projects of mine there, and right now it's
No, not Fraternity Brothers.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Clint. But yeah, just and it's right now the Sprawl Runners Guide, the biggest guide to the Sprawl Runners. I'm calling it tentatively redo right now, or Redux, however you pronounce it. Hopefully,
Add a little French veneer to make it sound fancy.
That's right.
Hopefully,
No,
we should
that's
be
not
seeing-
French.
No. Hopefully, we should be seeing that soon. There might even be a little bit more stuff from little hints at my old games there. The shaman in the opening fiction to my book was actually one of Mason's characters. And
Well, Mason's throwing you under the bus about your accent ability, sir, but that's fine. Fine. It's safer anymore not to do accents at the table unless they're really good. So,
hey, let him tell you sometime about my fantastic Cajun accent.
Yeah, if it's not French, maybe Redux is just Cajun. Totally, it's just
There we
Cajun.
go.
It's the Acadians, right? So speaking of a little guy who knows a little bit about French, and I promise we get back to you. Sir, tell us about the Fast Furious February. What is it? What's going on? How can people participate? Give us the spiel on FFF February.
It's about as easy as it gets. It's a creator jam. It's open to everyone, veterans and newcomers. If you want to create something that you had in the books for a while, something you want to create on the spot, something as simple as an edge or a hindrance, a setting rule, or something as complete as a full setting. We had Street Wolves. That was one of our first creation. That was that's a pretty much complete setting. So you go to the wiki, Savagepedia wiki. You find the Fast Furious Fun February page, and you put a link to your product, and that's it. Add the hashtag FFF February on the description of your product, and you just participate in the creator jam. That's easy as it gets. So it was actually kind of a crazy idea. That's not my idea. The Fast Furious February. I don't remember who proposed it the first time on Facebook. Sorry, that's yours. I don't remember your name. Please forgive me. I'm bad with names, and he was just saying that that could be a cool name for something. Fast Furious Fun February, like all Fs, and that's a very good idea. Do you mind if I steal that? He said yes, so I definitely stole it, and here we are. So we were on a tight timeline because the idea was pitched like in December, so we knew we had like only 2 months to go because we couldn't do that. We couldn't do Fast Furious Fun February in March or April, so that was it. And it's just an excuse to create, to get your ideas out there, even if it's just a cool set. We had like someone who pitched an idea for a Jack Sparrow like edge with pretty much dumb luck when you can re-roll your critical failure. So that's the kind of thing I want to see. Just people pitching their idea and building together something that's fun, and we hope to see cool ideas. I have one. I bought a new artwork because that's what I do for a project I had for Fast Furious February. It's something that's inspired by old school Japanese role-playing games. So yeah,
and the logo you got for Fast Furious February looks really, really good too.
Once again, I just decided to hire an artist. I gave him a pitch, and that's what he came up with. I just said, please make the girls' hair red because that's like the mascot of Savage War Red, and that's how we ended up with it. I never said anything about what kind of images I want. I just said, please, Fast Furious Fun February with like a doodle like stuff around it, and that was the end result. So we have so many talented artists over there, and they're just waiting for us to commission them for kick-ass art. Usually it doesn't come cheap, but you can find people that are willing to work with. That's it. So if you really want to leave a mark with your project, get a good artist, and have a cool idea with them. Let them work their magic. You won't be disappointed, I'm sure. So, and if you don't have the budget for it, don't worry about it. We just want to see your creation.
Yeah, that's the perfect attitude, sir. So
Yeah.
thank you for spearheading that. And in a give back kind of manner, we got another award for you.
Yay!
Rolling up. This is your second of the year, and so after here it is. Speaking of dragons, sir, Manu, cue the music. 2022 Swag Award winner, Here Be Dragons by
So that's a weird one. It's actually, I was watching videos on YouTube, and I was about to say podcast in French, balado. Sorry about it. And a lot of stuff about experts reviewing stuff and giving their opinions about all kind of stuff. And I said, wouldn't it be cool to have a fantasy character giving his opinion on stuff? So that's about what Here Be Dragon is. It's about Charlie Hawk, which is a big game hunter, a fantasy big game hunter, talking about how to hunt dragons. It's like a transcript of his podcast, which I framed it as pot crystals you can buy. So you can actually enchant little crystals you put in your ear and listen to someone talk. So that's like a podcast with pot crystals, and he's just talking about stuff. It's actually me talking through him about stuff, and it's very, very different in tone than usual books because you're actually reading someone talking about stuff. And in between all those this transcripts, you have all the stats of what he's talking about. So if he's talking about a magic item, if he's talking about a specific dragon, you have all those stats, and you have new races, new ancestries, and I made sure to have all the ancestries in the book for +2, which is the core rule, +4, which is Savage War for Pathfinder, and +10, which is Big Apple Sewer Samurai. So you have all those options available here. You have story hooks, adventure hooks. It's, I think, 20-30 pages of just me rambling about dragons and how they are beautiful and deadly and sentient, so you don't have to hunt them for sports. It's wrong hunting dragons for sport. You'll be killed, and you will kill someone who is sentient. Don't do it. And that's the general idea of what is Here Be Dragon. I'm going to say I wasn't expecting to win anything about it. I think I had enough people who bought my earliest stuff that were interested, and big shout out to Zadmar for Swagtember, because that's the majority of my sales is from Swagtember.
Same.
For those people who don't know what Swagtember is, during the month of September, the vast majority of the swag author on Discord put all of the stuff we created during the year in a big bundle, half off. So you can have all those creations for 50%, and that's actually very, very good, because we actually all get silver bestseller because of it, because people buy all our stuff. And I had like a little bit of an edge because people bought my book outside of Swagtember, but I'm going to say more than half of my sales were from Swagtember.
Yeah, Swagtember, just to jump in here a bit, Swagtember also has great secondary effects, like even the products that you don't put in, if you have more than one product as a swag creator, even the products you don't put into the Swagtember bundle, they see an increase in sales as well, just because people notice, oh, you're there, and this guy made something that's in the bundle, and oh, what else did he do, and or she or they, and you just see a notable uptick in activity for all your products. It's really great. Also, big shout out to Richard Woolcock for organizing Swagtember every year.
Yeah, Richard Woolcock is the OG author for, I think, an inspiration for all of us, because he was one of the first to actually publish stuff that looked professional, like his Saga of the Goblin Horde in Deluxe. So he's go get his stuff for Savage World, get his stuff for his own system. It's very, very good. He's not here tonight, but he should be here because he's the man.
Yeah, so he's got a winner tonight, and so we're definitely gonna have to do Swag Awards Part 2, because we've got a bunch of folks that we haven't been able to
I just saw Jody saying, like, I had in the middle of my book a sponsored content. Just the guy saying, "Oh, this video is this podcast is sponsored by this imaginary place." So it's very, 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 very weird and special. So if you are interested in a different kind of book, go get Here Be Dragon. It's like just a crazy idea I had, and one of the things that's good, if I had other ideas, I can actually just use the exact same idea and publish stuff. It's ramblings about other stuff, so magic, creatures, or anything.
Awesome. So Swag Awards Part 2 definitely going to be on the calendar now, because there are way too many people that we need to get. We need an award face to face, and we were lucky. We did have Christian Mertz, Andrew Pampich, and Thomas Clegg won awards this year, and they sent in videos. But we might just hold those off to Part 2. And we also have to see Kevin Rainier, Richard Woolcock, Andrew Lucas, and then Arthur Sexius de Martino, and a whole group of people for one of the settings. Definitely need to get their accolades in from us. So we will do Part 2. Well, so we got a few more minutes tonight, and we still have a few awards to give to Manu, because he's So,
don't forget, this is not the Swag Awards. This is the Manu Awards.
It really is. I mean, we may as well just close up shop and hand it all over to Manu.
We're just hitching a ride here.
Hi, my name is Manuel Sams. Welcome to the Welt Fury Entertainment Award Show. I will be the host and sole recipient of any awards. Thank you.
We should rename the awards the Menu Awards. So we get Menu Awards.
So Manu is getting the Manu Award 2022 Swag Award winner for Quick Crits. Manuel Sams, Veiled Fury Entertainment.
Whoop.
Love it. So, sir, before we give you your fourth, tell us about Quick Crits. What's going on with Quick Crits? What's up with it? Who would find this product useful?
Quick Crits is an extension, I would say, to the idea of the core rulebook of also, once again, dramatic tasks. And one of my earliest products, Distant Journeys. And it is geared towards everyone that wants to either do a treasure hunt or a travel session, or you can use it to model break-ins into secured facilities or into a dungeon in a really, really quick way. And I want to give a big shout out to the Scheme Pyramid, which also was a great inspiration for this product. So the basic idea is you lay out a grid of cards, 5x5, and then you get mechanics to work yourself from card to card to card as you flip them over, and the faces and numbers then tell you what the consequences are and what you have to roll and what the obstacles are that you have to overcome. There are a few different mechanics for doing just a traverse. You have to get from one point of the grid to the other point, or if you do a treasure hunt, like you have to find specific cards, or you just go on a generic treasure hunt. That means you just look for specific face cards and stuff like that. It is just meant basically everything I does is meant to resolve really, really quick and get the mechanics out of the way, and then you can just narrate how your guys dig through an ancient ruin and find the demi-liches that you sadly awakened while doing that because you drew clubs. What did you expect would happen, huh?
than clubs.
I love it. It's clubs are always the worst one.
Yep.
I'd rather just go for the violence. You know, give me the spades or even the treasure. Like give me the diamonds. Like I'll take treasure and violence. But clubs are always just like game master. Just like these, their eyes get bright and their fingers come together, and it's like, how can I screw with my players? Yes. Definitely.
There you go.
Right? Is a lipid public domain? I don't know if we can have them in the stream because certain corporations get a little dicey with their IP. I don't know. Generic cephalopod monster that the psychic powers. There we go.
Humanoid-sized Toulouse.
Psychic brain sucker.
Yeah,
That's right.
cerebellum, and then you get like the alliteration, at least in sound, if not spelling. So awesome, man. Okay, so last but not least, sir, the last round of applause for the many Manu medals. This one's pretty cool.
Nice.
This one definitely deserves it. 2022 Swag Award winner, Cyberpunk Hideouts.
Yes.
I love this one.
So I gotta say that hideouts are a big part of the on Pinnacle side. We don't talk a lot about PEG stuff on these shows. It's all about the Ace and Swag, but we're putting out companions, and people love hideouts, bases, super villain layers, whatever you want to call them. That's mandatory in every companion we've done. So this is a good on you for taking advantage of that need in the market for Cyberpunk hideouts. Tell us about this product.
So this is actually based on an idea that Pinnacle did in earlier products, specifically in Rippers and more Rippers Resurrected. So there are other people beside me who did other hideout rules before. I think Battlefield Press had a hideout product, or still have a hideout product. I don't know if they updated it to Suede already. And that was on the a lot more crunchier side. And then you have the hideout rules in the new companions, which are really, really concise and really, really compact. And I would say Cyberpunk Hideout scores somewhere in the middle. If you've read Rippers Resurrected and you're familiar with the Lodge rules, that is the base idea behind Cyberpunk Hideouts. I just condensed it down a bit more, and the way Cyberpunk Hideouts works is it just tacks onto the advanced system. Like every time, it assumes that everybody in the group advances at the same time, and every time they advance, you get to unlock another thing for your hideout. There are more choices than there are advances. It assumes you start building at seasoned, and it stops at once you reach legendary. So there is a finite number of advances, and there are more options than there are advances in that track. So you have to choose how you want to model your hideout. But every group is different, so it won't really be a problem for people to pick something that fits their particular group. And that is really all the magic that is to it. It is called Cyberpunk Hideouts because, well, it is cyberpunk themed, and it ties with, I believe, 1 or 2 entries. It ties into systems from Sprawl runners, but everything is generic enough that you can easily transport it into really any setting or any other genre. Reasonably.
Fantastic, sir. Well, congratulations for everybody who's here. I think we've got a couple more minutes. As long as we got you folks here, and as long as we have JM here. Any questions from you guys as swag members on, for PEG, for JM, for the new initiative at Savage Universe? Anything you want to ask us? Chat, you can chime in. Anybody got a question for us?
We had someone in chat, Cryptwright, suggest something that I think was a really, really cool idea. Let me find it. Cool. We should have a quarterly swag or Ace roundtable for discussion for creators on Savage Universe, and that sounds like a really, really good idea. I would totally be down for that.
I have that written down. That's a great idea.
As long as not every roundtable happens at what is it, 8 p.m. Eastern, because that is 2 a.m. for me.
Yeah, and the thing is, with my real job change, and now I work until 8 on Thursdays. So if you can change that, I'll be down for it at any time, but not 8 p.m. Thursday, any day outside from that.
Sounds good. We will find a more attendance-friendly time and probably just tape it, and if it's good for not to air. But we do have actually several things that we want to do that aren't necessarily live streams for the Swag and Ace folks. Like, the very first one is the second we get our alpha of the website ready. We'll have you guys all we'll, shoot out a link to you to give us some feedback. We might even do a live feedback session for that, so you can see what the functionality and how that's working for you. We've done in the recent past. We had Simon on and we did a build-a-box workshop on how do you begin to approach doing a box set. We'd love to do more of those on the production side, and being we see a little more tips like going from swag to Ace and Ace to doing digital delivery to doing physical books and overseas printing and offset printing and all that good stuff. So and also of course the Fast Furious fall features and the summer showcase. That was 80% about our Aces and Swag folks, which we love. So getting you guys to be able to Dan came on and did a great one on Dark States. If you want to go check that out on our YouTube playlist. Dan, we got really into the details of that, and we kind of went through some of the pages in the book, and so that's definitely worth checking out. I think Adam was on one of those. Yes, I think all you guys. I think we hopefully made at least one of those showcases. So we're continuing. We want to continue to do those, of course. So we get you guys out in front of backers and customers and other. To me, the biggest thing really is how much. And I love the Discord for that. Can one of you guys pull up the Discord link? I usually turn off Discord to stream because it's very noisy for me. But if you guys have the link, the invite link for the Discord, if you guys could pop that into the chat, I'd love that because that's a really great way to meet up and kind of casually introduce yourself. And here we go. Gripboard's got another one. Let's talk about what's on the shelves. We should totally do shelfies. And, JM's got a great one. We've got multiple options on JM shelf.
Yeah.
I can talk about mine as well.
Yeah.
Manu, put it in the private chat and then I'll post it. It's stupid. It's you can't post inner links and the Twitter tubes. Yep. There we go. Done. There it is. Thank you, Manu. We have to hire Manu to run tech behind the scenes on our thing. We get sound, we get links. It's good stuff. So here's the Discord link, folks. Definitely join up there, and you'll see all these faces. It's a great. The Steel Draco does an amazing job, kind of running our Discord, and he's got some swag stuff too. So I just love seeing everybody take baby steps or larger than baby steps into getting publishing and then getting published and kind of contributing to the community. So.
If I could do it, anybody can do it. That's as simple as that. No, don't worry about it. I could pull it off. You can pull it off.
Yeah, I'd say this is probably the biggest thing for me to be on these shows. I mean, don't get me wrong, getting awards and all is really, really nice. And thank you, Pinnacle, for putting all of this together. But just being able to be here and tell people it's easy and just do it. And we are just everyday people with day jobs. And we did it. I started with Distant Journeys, and that was a thing that originated on the unofficial Savage Worlds Discord server out of an offhand out of an offhand comment. And I think 3 weeks later, I had it down and had it done and had it laid out, and it was 4 pages, or is 4 pages. And now it's a platinum bestseller. It's it is nothing that special. If you have a cool idea, come on there, talk to people. We're always happy to help.
That's the coolest thing about honestly being a gamer and stuff is, people are very open and happy. We do have grognards and stuff, but, community is where we live and thrive and stuff. And people like us that make these books, we're gamers. We put out books because we love the game. And you have an awesome idea that you want out there. Don't be scared. I mean, if I can do it, if Alp can do it, any of it, you guys can do it. You got a cool idea, do it.
Yeah, that's the best part. Dan, any parting advice for folks who have yet to dip their toes in the waters into getting a whole setting published? Any advice for the noobs?
It's a long, hard process when it comes to something as big as what I did. I mean, it took me 4 years, but it is, like I said, the actual publications, particularly through Swag, was just so simple at the end of the day. One of the things I'd like to see in Savage Universe, one of the things I really struggled with was finding resources, things like artists, people to do layout, people to do editing. That's the thing that I really struggled with because I'm not in that industry. I don't know those sorts of people. So having that sort of available as a list of resources and people who are willing to help out, and we do it with the proofreading and editing on the Discord at the moment. But having that available would make people's life a lot easier. But it is, again, I went through a lot of imposter syndrome and thinking, the stuff I'm putting out is a load of rubbish. People are just going to laugh in my face, and they didn't, weirdly enough. So it's getting over that first hurdle. It honestly, no one is going to do that. Everyone's going to love the stuff you put out. You just need to get out there and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't think of a better way to wrap up part 1 of the 2022 Swag Awards, because we've got at least 7 more awards to give out for folks. So you'll see a lot more of JM. We are so pleased to be able to have JM on board to boost our aces and our swag and our licensees and our translators. I just love the fact that everybody but Adam here on the award winners is not an American, and that's fantastic. Swag is a great way for our overseas friends to get involved. And we are always, speaking of that, we're always looking for ways to get our books cheaper shipped to overseas. It's a global nightmare.
Even just north of the border.
Canada's the worst, sir. Canada is the worst.
It's absurd how costly it costs to just ship. I just buy everything. I buy every PDFs I can get my hand on, but I cannot afford anything else.
We need to set up
are we already at the point where it's cheaper to take a vacation in the United States and buy the stuff than have it shipped?
Oh no, it is. We have multiple customers who, if you live close enough, have a PO box in Windsor or Detroit or in New York.
Vermont for me, because Vermont is like a 2 hours ride for me. So it's very, very easy to go to the States. I could do that, actually. Thanks, Manu.
You're welcome.
Right. And so if you find a friendly local game store in Vermont that's close to where you need to pick them up, send their info our way. We send to game stores free shipping and and half off MSRP is the industry standard. So we can get them your stuff. It'll be worth their time to order stuff for you. But yeah, other than that, guys, right. Yes, okay, right. In 2023, RPG publication smuggling has become commonplace. We might need to publish a guide to sneaking RPGs across the border.
The good thing is I know if I want to pay taxes on it, it's like 6%. So it's not a big deal. It's very, very shipping. I had to pay for taxes on books I ordered in France because there's a ton of good French RPGs out there. It's absurd how many French RPGs out there that are very, very good. And you don't only have to pay federal taxes on it. There's no, since it's books, there's no special anything. So it's not even smuggling. I just paid tax 6% of the book upon entering, and there you go.
Yeah, that's what we can't very often take advantage of book rate shipping because we put dice in things, and dice don't count towards that. And right, here we go. Right. Our dice explode, also a problem. Sometimes it is. Which reminds me, we are going to have dice exploding stickers that you guys can put on your boxes and all that kind of fun stuff. I think we're going to try to do for merch. Get some better merch options up on the site, so that'll be fun. But guys, we appreciate everyone tuning in. You'll see more of me. You'll see more of all these amazing creators because they are great and they are all multiple award winners now. They can brag to their kids that people out there appreciate what they do. And you'll see more of JM because JM is going to be spearheading so many cool initiatives to make sure that all of our ancillary adjacent partners, all the good stuff for you guys are getting the attention that you guys deserve. And with that, we will reconvene sometime soon. Hopefully, I think because so many folks couldn't make it, obviously the overseas thing was a little short notice. I'm going to try to at least get videos from everybody. So I can't promise when we'll do part 2, but it should be soon. And hopefully we'll get the rest of our awards delivered to the likes of Christian Merce, Andrew Pampich, Thomas Clegg, Kevin Rainier, Richard Wilcock, Andrew Lucas et al., and Arthur. How would we pronounce this? Seixas. Seixas? Any opinions? Seixas. It's cool. It's Spanish or maybe Portuguese, but I have no idea. Hopefully, I'm not butchering it. Dave Martino.
SEIXAS.
Six. See, right? It's a sexy name no matter what. Wherever we go.
All right.
You can just let me say it. I'll butcher it anyway. Everybody expects it.
Yeah, I have no shame, but there are many great other creators who did great products in 2022, and want to highlight them as well. But we're already at an hour and 15, and that's over our budget, and we need to go to bed and get on to promoting good stuff tomorrow. So we appreciate you. I think Jody is on board with figuring out how to smuggle some more stuff to you guys. And other than that, we appreciate you. There is a Kickstarter going on right now. It's let's see. Ghost Mountain, The Legend of Ghost Mountain. It is a high-flying wuxia action where strong emotions are what drive your talents and abilities in the setting. It is a real-world inspired, but totally fantasy, expansive world box set. It's on Kickstarter. So that's my one little plug for Peg. It's got, I think, one more week, a week and a day. So go check that out if you haven't. And otherwise, we are going to do a lot more wonderful swag things this year. Fast Race February is going on right now. So if you want to dip your toe into it, come up with an edge, tiny rule change, maybe even just design a character to share for Fast Race February. All has got the Savage Wiki, which we saved. And we are super happy that
we were worried for a time that we couldn't host it on the Savagepedia wiki, but we brought it back.
But it's back and it's good. And so congratulations to all the winners, and we will do some more of them. But other than that, enjoy the weekend. Get out there and play some Savage Worlds, folks. Be good ambassadors for us. We are the best community in gaming, bar none. I will not get sued for that because no one can challenge us on that in court. Guaranteed. So go introduce Savage Worlds to a friend today. Hopefully one of these amazing swag products, because I want to play them. They're all great. So help us enjoy the rest of Fast Race February. And with that, we will end our broadcast with a little video that we love. Play Savage Worlds. Good night, folks.
We play Savage Worlds, whether we're at the table or over the internet. In our role-playing game, fantasy is just the beginning. From the Wild West to the depths of outer space and beyond. Anytime, any place. They're all Savage Worlds.